I think you can't be in this role as the CEO of Mardi Gras and not become an activist and not, stand up for, diversity and inclusion and, fight for marginalized communities. And it can't just be focused on a 2.5-week festival in, March, and then, they've done their bits and they step back. We've re-established the committee for name change. We have very, very passionate group of people who fought for the name gay and lesbian and feel that the moment we lose that, the organization will lose its sense of identity.
How does somebody walk into a city and pick up the top job at the peak queer body?
Well, I think that's probably a question for the board of directors, I guess is probably it. I think it boils down to actually having a real true passion for, what the organization does, coupled with, really good experience and relevant experience to running an organization that has the true power to, effect change. And I think that's probably, a whole bag of really, luck and also a bit of business acumen, I guess.
Welcome to the interview.
Thanks, Kyriakos. Thanks for having me.
I want to know so much about you. You've come from South Africa. You are leading Mardi Gras. It's a super important period because we are just a couple of steps away from World Pride. How did that all happen? Was it part of a plan, or was it just a career move that's becoming purposeful? What is it?
It actually wasn't in the plan, to be honest with you. The opportunity came across and I saw it on LinkedIn as a potential opportunity. And then the moment I laid my eyes on it, I sort of fell in love with the opportunity that I could actually have the chance to, contribute a very small piece to this amazing, colorful and diverse community. And I gave my heart and soul to, getting this position in the first place.
So do you now wear two hats? Are you both the business person and also partly activist, or are you still very commercially focused?
I think you can't be in this role as the CEO of Mardi Gras and not become an activist and not, stand up for, diversity and inclusion and, fight for marginalized communities. And I think it's very relevant for Mardi Gras to always have a very firm view on the positive things that we have in our community and amplify it. There's big concerns that everyone feels that, since marriage equality that, we've won and it's okay for us now to just, rest on our laurels, and that's definitely not the case. Yeah. We have very, very specific marginalized communities, right now that still are suffering from, horrific racist and or sexist and or issues in our community rights, and we still have to fight for it.
You grew up in South Africa, right?
Yes.
Sometimes we take things for granted here. Was it very different? Was it the same? Are we living a fairy tale here?
I think that's probably so true. I think every day I walk down the street to work, and I literally look at Australia and I think that the streets here are paved with gold. The community here is vibrant.
That's the right analogy for this.
I know, isn't it just great? I think that we have such an amazing, vibrant community. They're all, very much involved and very much supportive and very vocal about, what our community is here. Whereas in South Africa, there was no such thing, I think when I came to my first Mardi Gras 10 years ago, it was the reason why I traveled to Australia was for Mardi Gras. And I remember very, very, very clearly, I was standing at the Bobby Goldsmith stand and this amazing parade was walking by, and I just felt so emotional because there's just so many people, so many people coming together and supporting what is an LGBTQ, plus event. It was like heaven, and I felt like I was home.
Growing up, what was that magical moment for you when you truly felt part of the community, if you ever had that moment? And how different are you now in comparison to that moment?
So one of my first experiences was the Brighton Pride. I was only 18 years old in the UK. And it was that absolute feeling of being home and feeling comfortable. At 18, I don't think anybody really, truly knows who they are and where they're going to be headed in life. And I was working on a working holiday, in the UK. And that moment when I was surrounded by all these people, and everyone was just being who they are, and everyone was celebrating, and they were showing love, I think that was when I really truly understood that I was part of a bigger community and it wasn't just me and I wasn't alone. Especially coming from South Africa, you don't necessarily have that big sense of community and support that you would have when you're surrounded by an amazing pride like Brighton or Mardi Gras or World Pride.
It sounds like you had to travel out of home to have that connection, and a lot of ethnic Australians have that. They have to leave their communities because it's like these little countries living in parts of Australia. Now, talk to me specifically about your plans for Mardi Gras. Is there a plan?
There is a very, very big plan for Mardi Gras, and I think that's when we start talking about it, I'll get really excited because it's phenomenal. You know, it's really great because Mardi Gras is such an amazing platform, and that's what it is. We're a not-for-profit charity, and we have DGR status. And our remit is to support the community. And the only way that we can do that is if we get the community involved, supporting us in the movement forward and refocusing it. So the first plan is to reestablish the purpose. We've rolled out the biggest survey just 2 weeks ago. So, you know, community consultation to find out what the community really wants from us and how we can, you know, give it to them in a way that they will understand and also, you know, partake in the whole movement forward. And the other vision for Mardi Gras is for us to become bigger than we ever have before. And when I say that, I mean, you know, we have 3,000 members right now. My personal goal is to have it at least by 15,000 by the time we hit World Pride. The bigger our membership, the more diverse group of people we have. We want a bigger venue, which is a concern in Sydney, but of course we'll, you know, cross the bridge when we get to it. But what we want to try and do is make sure that that platform that is Mardi Gras gets as big as possible. Because the bigger our platform, you know, the further our message goes, and that will ensure that I can speak to all those individuals that is in those lonely towns where they feel, you know, that they're totally isolated. Those are the people that we want to try and talk to. Those are the people that we want to try and invite into the tent. And we truly want to have a magical experience with these people so they feel like they're home too.
Speaking of inclusivity, are you continuing the project with the potential name change for Mardi Gras? Where is that at?
That's a very important piece of work for Mardi Gras. And so what we've done is we've reestablished the committee for name change. This is also just, of course, a very touchy subject because, of course, you know, we have very, very passionate group of people who fought for the name gay and lesbian and feel that the moment we lose that, you know, the organization will lose its sense of identity. What we know is that there is additional work from a community consultation point of view to really understand, you know, all the aspects around it before we can move ahead with any suggestions or moving, you know, or moving it even into an AGM as a point of contact. So there's a lot of work to be done around it. It's not a quick fix. There are a number of other associations and organizations in the community that also are grappling with the same, you know, concerns. But make no mistake that it's on the horizon, but we won't do anything unless the community is fully backing it and supportive of it and buying into the bigger picture for sure.
Well, a bigger platform. I'd like you to talk to more sponsors as well. You know, there's been a lot of discussion in the community about pinkwashing, about what sponsors should be on the Mardi Gras platform, if there should be any sponsorship. What's your take on it?
This is a very hot topic, as you said, and it's been in the news and in the media quite significantly. And I personally believe that there is a major responsibility on the part of corporates to really focus on the LGBTQ community, diversity, inclusive programs and committees. And I personally think that if they feel that they're responsible and they feel that they're buying into this bigger picture, it can't just be focused on a 2.5-week festival in, you know, March, and then, you know, they've done their bit and they step back. So Mardi Gras is also now, you know, entering into way more meaningful conversations with these corporations going, you guys are probably doing other things as well, you know, which we need to know of, because the community doesn't know what's happening behind closed doors with these corporations. But if they truly feel so passionately about these, you know, these issues that we stand for, then they'll be doing that all year round. And I think that's something that Mardi Gras is also now pushing for. We want year-round communication with these sponsors, not just in that small space of time. And that's the thing. Pinkwashing is literally, you know, putting a rainbow flag on your logo for 2 weeks and then you disappear and you're gone. And so what we're trying to do is have interaction and integration of all of these things all year round, because then it's truly them buying into it and them truly supporting it. And it's a year-long thing, so it's not necessarily just for a short period of time.
Good luck with that.
I know. It's a big ask.
It's a big ask.
To make you feel proud.
If we were to step back in time, we'll go back to South Africa. I ask everyone that question, and you were to talk to your younger self, what would be the advice you give them? And would it be in relation to community? You've come into this community as a businessman and you're now becoming an advocate. What would be the guidance you give to that person? And if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can give advice to anyone.
I think one of the biggest things in these situations where I sit now is it's probably, you always have that little bit of a voice in the back of your head with a bit of self-doubt, and you always wonder, am I really good enough for this? Can I really do this? Whatever the case may be. And if I could go back to myself, I'd probably have that, have a stronger confidence in yourself, sense of confidence when you, move into these things, because you're totally capable of doing it. It's just you holding yourself back. And I think that's probably most people's issues really, is the only person that is holding you back from your own success is you. So it's just like back yourself and, go for it and don't stop until you get where you need to be.
Go a year from now and decide a small or large change for the community in Australia or the world. What would that be?
I think what I would like to see is that we don't necessarily have to fight for our rights in the sun. That would be, for me, an amazing win. And I think when people, are who they are, they're not afraid to be who they are. They're not afraid, to tell their parents they may be gay or whatever the case may be. So for me, that would be an ideal thing where, people don't even have the, it's not even a thought process for them that I have to tell my parents I'm gay or straight or bi or whatever the case may be. That would be amazing.
And I'm gonna close with this. There's many people that say that the parties are irrelevant to the community. What do you say?
The parties are so relevant. I think it's also just, it has a place in the bigger scheme of what Mardi Gras is. The party is literally the culmination of the celebration where we all come together and we celebrate a sense of community, a sense of belonging. It's those happy feelings of we're here, we're supporting each other. And I think a party is not just a party. It says and is so much more than that. There's key messages that go through, a midnight show, for example, in the party, or there's key political components that we include in these events. And I was actually talking to a creative director just the other day, and there is so many key components to designing an event such as Party, which is 15,000 people coming together. And one of those key components, yes, is dancing, but the other key component is the true opportunity for us to show affection for each other and being able to really build forward on that. It's definitely important.
See you at Mardi Gras.
See you at Mardi Gras. Thanks, Kyriakos.